Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Safety Advocacy Podcast. So today we have a very interesting topic, and the topic will be on remote working and health risks. Now, we have a presenter here. His name is Mr. Ehi Eden, a very powerful occupational health and safety professional. He's an expert. So, let me tell you just a very short title of Mr. Ehi Eden. He is the CEO of Occupational Health and Safety Managers. That's his company. Mr. Ehi Eden is also the president, Occupational Safety and Health in Africa. So we are so glad to have this man, and he will be breaking it down to everybody's knowledge. Let's hear him.
Thank you so much, Comfort, for inviting me. And it feels so good to be here, to be at this podcast session. We'll be looking at, within the time that we have in our disposal, looking at the issues that border around remote working and the possible health risk. You will agree with me that when the COVID-19 came, there was no workplace globally that was given the time to prepare for what was going to come. We were looking at what was going to happen next, what will happen, and the next thing we saw that virtually every country in the world went into lockdown, and people were not trained on how to manage this lockdown. And yes, there were a few companies who were already working, having flexibility of work, but many companies across the world didn't have this in their system. So people were forced to go home and work from home, and these homes were not prepared to take people, having to work remotely. And there was not even training whatsoever for people on how to work remotely. And this was where the problem began. So through a series of issues started spiking. And one of such was issue of lone worker syndrome. There are people who live alone, and where they can call a place where they get busy and have family to talk to is the workplace. And now they have to go back home. Stay alone at home. Maybe in their apartment, they live alone, don't live with anybody. That became an issue. Loneliness started spiking among workers. They started seeing issue that has to do with mental health. It was being heightened among workers who had to work from home. Then we thought that the remote working period was going to be for a short while, but we didn't know COVID-19 was going to take such a long haul. And now as COVID-19 keeps every one of us at home, so we are now working, over 1 year now people have been working at home. So the key issue that is spiking right now is issue that has to do with ergonomic management amongst remote workers. People are beginning to come down with high level of body pain, back pain. From the report that was given by personnel today, the statistics said that 4 in 5 workers are currently working, or that work remotely, are coming down with body pain, and highest among this pain is lower back pain, shoulder pain, and all have you, and carpal tunnel syndrome. These are issues that are spiking. But the question is, how do we manage this? With these little studies we have done, we realize that modern day thinking employers, one of the key things they did was a number of them told their workers to try and see how they could buy adjustable desk and seats at home, and send the payment receipt to the office, and they were reimbursed. Then we saw other set of employers also who realized, when they saw that the lockdown was going beyond 3 months, they told their employees to go to the offices and sign off their desk and their seats and take them home, so that they can have a place to work, so that they don't have this kind of issues we're talking about. You also realize with me there are people who also have established ergonomic health conditions. I think one of the things that we expected that employers would have been doing is to profile your employees and look at the risk. Those who have established ergonomic condition, which of course we're already catering for in the office by buying them ergonomic seat because of their peculiar condition. Yes, in some companies, this set of people were not allowed to take their seats home. They have to go home, work from couches, work from their beds, work from coffee seats, work from the dining seats. And now the seats are in the office. Nobody is using them. For 1 year, we've had those seats, ergonomic seats, they are all lying fallow in the offices. this, I think it's just natural, normal, and it's a moral thing to do to allow employees to take these seats home when work as in such a time that we are able to return to work as we used to do in the physical offices. They can bring these things back. I think it just makes a lot of sense. But if what are these things that we should be teaching employees, right? I think in our conversations, in our weekly meetings, economic management should be topping our conversation. And we're not saying this happening right now because people need to know what to do. People are coming down with pain from the. If you look at the report that came out from Bupa recently, it said about 4 million Brits are already working remotely, and less than 35% of this population are the only ones that have home working office that properly set up. So if this being the case, and other studies are coming out, like studies from BOFA say that most people don't even want to come back to work physically in the office anymore. It means by this we have tried a number of employees or organizations don't even have hope of coming back to physical office work arrangements. If this being the case, I think it's high time we start discussing or giving full attention to issues that have to do with ergonomics management within the workplace. Two things are clear here. Look at duration of exposure and frequency of exposure. Now we work at homes because some studies say that there's only a bloodline, BLURROED, thin line between, it's not even visible, between your private time when you work at home and the company's time. So you don't even know what time you have, what time the company has to take from you. So these are critical issues we should be looking at. But what we should do is when you expose yourself to a certain risk for longer hours, you stand the chance of being affected. So let's teach our employees how to take intermittent breaks within our work schedule. Don't keep them on those seats for too long, because most of those seats are actually awkwardly postured seats because they are not ergonomically friendly. And we must also learn to teach our people how to improvise. Even if we don't have the seats at home, when you take a pillow and put it at the back of your back, it helps you to align your lumbar spine so that you don't come down with pain. So you work from home, and you can take a pack of carton or folded clothes to put your feet on so that your leg can be placed on a better angular position so that you don't come up with hip pain or leg pain. But the same also applies to our laptop. These gadgets we use. Some of studies have said that laptop was not ergonomically designed, and we have seen that being obvious during this remote working period where you have seat that you can't adjust. Now, what you can also teach people to do is, can you look for a pad or a carton to lift up your laptop so that the screen can be a little above your eye level, so that you don't start hunching, because that hunching to look at your laptop is what leaves you with back pain, upper back pain. So to avoid that hunching, we need to elevate our laptop. But you won't agree with me that when you elevate the laptop with a pad, it means your hand can no longer type on the keyboard. So what that means is that you have to learn to have an external keyboard and external mouse that you can put in the seat where your hand can align properly, and you don't also bring pain back to your hands. Then we should also learn to use the 20-20-20 rule. And what this means is that when you work for 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break and look at and focus on something that's about 20 feet away from you, and do that for about 20. Do that for a short while, so that 20 feet away from you. When you are doing this, what you are doing is that you are trying to relax the muscles in the eye, because most time when we focus on this system, our muscles in the eyes, they get affected. So relax yourself. Intermittently take those intermittent break and see how you can actually manage your time. Then also take stretch breaks. Get up once in a while, stretch. You can stretch this way, remain there for a while, come back to the center, then you go back again. Or put a hand on your forehead, trying to see how you can push it back. These are some of the exercises that we can do while working from home. But the truth is that even if there are no ergonomically designed work environment or work infrastructure you have at home, common sense is that we expect you to take it personal. see what you can do. Improvise within your house. But overall, we believe companies that have seats that have been lying fallow in the office, like we already said, that it is just important, sign them out to the employees, because we still work, most people still work from home. We don't know how long this will last. Like we said earlier on, it's going to last for a very long haul. And like I said, most organizations are not even interested in coming back to do physical work arrangement. As a matter of fact, BBC did a study, and about 50 biggest companies in UK that were interviewed, they said they have no hope of coming back to full office environment even in the near future. So when we look at it, when we start talking about the future of work, we're talking about, people are going to work remotely and what have you. But COVID-19 helped us to bring the future of work not into the future, brought into our present unprepared. And these are some of the issues we are having. So I think these are some of the quick fixes we can have. And most people are also saying that they go to hospitals and they're taking painkillers more than they will ever need. And these are the outcomes that we're having from this poor economic condition as a result of remote working. Thank you.
Wow. It's like, let me not say Mr. Ehi, Paehi took us all back to the classroom. Wow. Okay, so much has been learned today. And I picked some things, and I hope people were taking note. The 2020 rule, right?
Yeah,
2020 rule. Yeah, very interesting. All right, and I also learned that some companies have already signed off their furnitures to get to the employees' homes. That's awesome. So while these employees are working at home, and employers are working at home as well. Now, what are those things that employers should look out for that may likely be the sign of economic conditions that they may have, like those people that are working without adjustable workstations in their homes? What are the likely symptoms that employers should be able to look out for, and what should they do?
First thing we have to do is to do what you call risk communication, and this should be in our weekly meetings. We must keep re-emphasizing this, and those key features that will happen that are characterized with remote working. We start discussing them, and one of such is Egonomics. I just mentioned. Then when you see people saying, "I've been to the hospital, I keep going back to the hospital," the issue that dealing with is pain. But don't forget, pain also fuels what you call insomnia. When you are having constant pain or continuous pain, it alters your sleep, and that's where you have circadian rhythm coming in. You're at work, you are having what you call micro sleep because you are not really stable enough to work because you didn't have good enough sleep. That's one very key thing. Then secondly, we need to start looking at it. I mean, those who you feel the burden is becoming too much, you should have, if you cannot have a staff, have an external consultant. Once in a while, they should go to the house and say, okay, I think I'm having an economic issue. Have an economics consultant just go and look at what is really happening. That's
like an assessment?
Yes. Okay. It may be that even the person has seats, but he or she is not using the seat rightly, because you know that when you talk about ergonomy, you're talking about awkward body posture. So the ergonomy is able to help you adjust the seat to the person's physical body structure, so that they can have the needed relief as necessary.
Wow, thank you very much, Mr. Ehi. That's a very good response to that question as well. So another thing we need to look at, what are now the roles of these employees in their own risk management in remote working, because they are the ones working remotely. They are the ones that feel the pains, have the symptoms. They are the ones that know that whatever job they are doing, nobody is watching me. So I can decide to sleep on my computer or on my laptop, and I can wake up in 3 hours to continue the job. So what are they supposed to do as employees?
Let me quickly establish this. If you look at the research that came up from Tallinn University, it was done by Tallinn PEDAC. And one of the things that said that the head, this average adult head, is between 4 to 6 kg. So the more you tilt the head, the more the backbone, your backbone or your cervical column has to make compensation to pay for that. And the more you tilt that head while you walk, and the more you put pressure on those parts of your body. So one thing that we must do is to have what you call ergonomics education. I mean, it can be overemphasized. And
ergonomic education.
Yes.
Employees should have ergonomic education
yeah.
and awareness.
Yes, it can be overemphasized. And once that is structured, knowing that when you first know that your head weighs about 4 to 6 kg, so understand the fact that when you tilt that head downward or you tilt it downward, know that 4 kg has a whole lot on your backbone. So these are the things you must look at. And when you sit for a while, you find out that you're having pain. It means that position was an awkward position. So look for a way to adjust those positions so that at the end of the day, we are able to manage your processes. Because most times we can have the best ergonomic seats and they are still abused. So
yes.
the ergonomic education will let us know what we should do. What the kind of seat that comfort we use might not be the kind of seat. Why? Because we have two different
posture,
physical structure, physical build. So understand what works for you. That's why I mentioned that when the pain is becoming increasingly heightened within a certain employee, it's important that we send an ergonomist to go and look at what must be happening within that employee's home. If it means helping that employee to adjust those seats and put other provisions in place so that they can. But in it, or you must take personal responsibility because it matters a lot. Thank you so much.
Employees are advised to take personal responsibilities for their own health and safety while working remotely, and also employers are tasked with that responsibility of taking the lead. That was an awesome lesson from Pa Ehi. Thank you. I had to remove the mister. All right, so that was a very nice presentation from Mr. Ehi, the President, Osh Africa, CEO, Occupational Health and Safety Managers. My name is Ambassador Comfort Ekpe. Thank you for being with us today. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
All right.